Welcome all to SRW TV. Today we have our fourth round of the GT3 Mini Enduro Series from Road America. Today you've got myself, Stephen McCartan on comms, Brendan Walton as our second producer, and Chef Toddy in the producer's box today. Bit of a delayed coverage today, boys, but I think it's going to be a good round. Road America, to me, is one of the most underrated tracks in the sim title. So I think we're in for a ripper. What's your thoughts, Brendan?
Yeah, well, I've made a very good effort to try and keep out of Discord to see what's been happening, so to make sure we're coming in fresh for this broadcast. So yeah, we're looking forward to a good race. We'll just join up here as there's 5 minutes left in qualifying, and at the moment Jake Edwards sitting on pole with a 201, Adam Hughes close behind in the 201s as well. So yeah, certainly there's going to be some good racing, plenty of action here to be had, long straights, tight corners at the end of them, always makes for some exciting moments.
Yeah, absolutely, and with those long straights, as you mentioned, plenty of fuel saving opportunities. 70% fuel tank capacity for these boys today, which should mean they'll be needing about 2 stops. But with that fuel save, they'll be able to maybe get it to 1. We've got a nice 21 degree track temp. It's early in the morning here, so I don't expect that to raise too much through the course of this 90-minute race, but I think it's going to be purely down to fuel saving and who's got the fuel at the end to come through. And obviously with the sort of track it is, safety cars will probably be I'd say pretty sparse, but you never know. These boys like to go door to door, and obviously that can cause some decent crashes, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and we see the usual suspects there, the kit cars on screen, that KFC car of course up as well, regular competitor. Got the CXR boys in there, Bruce Tannick, Harry Dodds over at Performance Sim Racing, Michael Whiting, Jamie Dyke, the Fishy boys all in there as well. So plenty of contenders, the usual suspects, and plenty of guys that have a good chance to win this one today.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've got 30 cars on track, 31 cars on track, sorry. It does seem like the drop bear guys aren't qualifying, so they might be starting from the back and just trying to keep out of the carnage. Being Lockie Capel, Daniel Yeaman and Sebastian Flock, who are normally sort of front runners. With the pace we're seeing from the 2 crisscross boys up the front, Jake and Adam, they've got a couple of tenths over the Frog Leap Juice Racing of Kyle Ridley and then Bruce Tannick in P4. As we've got about 4 minutes left to qualifying here. These times are tight. If you sort of take away those top 2 that have dipped into the 201s, everyone all the way back down to P14 is under the 2-minute 3s. So
yeah, certainly a very close field there across what is quite a long track. Can create some good disparity in the timing sheet, but it's great to see that there's going to be some close racing. Even, you know, you look back down to the bottom of the field, you know, 204 really, so not a huge time difference throughout the entire field.
Yeah, and we've also got the Pro and the AM split in this week. For the broadcast, we'll have that ready for next week's broadcast in terms of putting the guys who are Pro with red numbers and the ones that are AM with green numbers, so we're able to make it easier for you viewers at home as well. So I'd sort of say, I'm just looking at the leaderboard now, sort of your top 12, 13 guys are all your Pro drivers, which are all in that 203 bracket. And as you're saying, everyone else that's sort of in the, I'm going to say, high 3s to the low 5s are all your AM drivers. So if you separate it that way, there's only about a second and a bit between all the categories, so it's pretty close racing and tight times there.
Yeah, really good to see, and it looks like, you know, as we watch some of those timing splits across the bottom of the screen there, Jake Edwards, Adam Hughes, Gerard, they're all sort of going orange at the moment, so, you know, perhaps the best track conditions for setting a time is gone. Obviously they'll be running pretty low fuel setups here, trying to get as many laps in with the lightest load as possible. Speed is very much key here around Road America, capitalising as much top speed out of those straights as possible.
Yeah, absolutely, and with the track only getting warmer as well, it's probably would have paid to, you know, the times that are set early on, which looks like Jake and Adam did on their respective early laps, probably working together with that tow as well, getting probably half a second worth of time, I'd say, in a tow around this track. I was going to say their benchmarks are probably actually going to stand up here with only a couple of minutes left, so everyone will either be just starting their last lap or on their last lap as well. So it's going to be interesting, and I think we're in for a good 90 minutes. So it's a tight track. It might be long and it's definitely flowing, but it's hard to go too wide at a lot of corners as we're on board here. We can see coming, especially through this carousel, if you can go too wide through this corner, you're got a lot of respect between the drivers because of the natural line. Oh, and it's also easy to do that.
Yeah, very easy around the carousel to go a little bit too heavy into it and spin around. Harry Dodds there just had a few green sectors, moves himself up into 10th position with a 2:02.68. So good to see him making up into the top 10, improving on his lap. Michael Whiting dropped down the timing sheet a little bit, down to 12th now. Jamie Dyke, again, someone you usually see a little bit higher up the chart, currently sitting in 13th.
Yeah, it's off memory he was sort of top 3 and 4 at Winton. Sorry, back at the 10 at Winton, and he was in that top 3 and 4 battle for our second and first round. So it's not someone you normally see down in that sort of 12th and 13th, with Jamie Dyke also being only 6 points behind Adam Hughes in the current championship, although it's early days. You know, you never want to give up points, and qualifying is a big part of that, as we see Adam just sort of starting. He's going to make that last effort ditch towards the so the start-finish line to start his last attempt at a qualifying run, without a tow though, by the look of it, as he's got no one in front of him. So he's going to have to do this lap all on his natural ability and a bit of pace. So we'll stay on board here for the lap with Adam Hughes, and we'll see if we can get some of his lines and see how hard he's pushing as well with the behaviour of his car.
He's definitely timed that outlap very well, crossing the line with just 10 seconds to go. Used a little bit of the exit curve there on 1, lines himself up in for 2, takes that wider line, late apex here. Give yourself the best run down the back straight, bit of exit curve, and then it's just opening up the throttle all the way down the big long back straight here at Road America, all the way up into 6th gear. Starting to look for your braking point now. Just over the crest, slamming on the brakes, back down to 2nd gear. Just cuts the entry curve there, good exit. Don't want to get too wide there. Very easy to put a wheel on the grass and spin. Back down to 2nd again for that blind left-hander, and then down the hill back to the carousel. This corner here also very tricky. You want to spot your braking marker, downhill braking, very easy to run wide and find yourself into the sand. And then it's getting the car lined up, the perfect speed and line to get around the carousel, hanging on to the very edge of the car, running through in 4th gear, then heading 5th on exit, lining up for the kink, down the bottom straight, not quite flat out in the Porsche, I do believe, bit of a safety lift I think, just to settle the car as we come down into the slowest corner on the track. Down into 2nd, bottom of the track, back up around on the exit curve again. Very generous exit curves here at Road America, but you do need to have the car settled up over the blind kink into the last corner. Again, the last corner very tricky to get right, very late apex there as we see him take a wide line through and then back up the hill, slamming through the gears. No, he doesn't like it. He's going to pull into the pit lane, and that will end the qualifying session.
There was about 3 tenths down heading into that last corner, but while we're on board there, we had Adam Simpson from the Fishy Boys jump into P3 with a 2-minute flat, and Kyle Ridley there as well, as we see on screen. He also jumped up with a 2-minute .095. So a couple of boys still putting in their fast laps right at the end. So, you know, what could have been if they had a little bit of a tow. It does look like Jake Edwards, though, is going to be our pole sitter with a 2:01.8 for Crisscross Racing, and Adam Hughes locking out a front row for Crisscross Racing in the 95 as well with a 2:01.965. So good start there for the Crisscross boys, and it looks like we've got Adam in P3, Kyle in P4, Bruce Tannock P5, Gavin Simpson in 6, Andrew Linden in 7, Owen Coleman in P8, Blake Delaney in 9, and Jamie Dyke rounds out your top 10 there. So good sort of times. You know, there's only 8 tenths between that top 10, which in any given series is normally a lot more than that. So I think we're in for again some good battles and some good racing tonight, as we're about to go gridding up, and these guys will join the grid shortly, and we'll be into the action.
Yeah, and that kind of time difference between across the track like Road America, where you know there's so much margin for error around what is a fairly simple track, but also very easy to get wrong, and it is quite a long circuit. So to have such close times across qualifying is quite a phenomenal feat from these guys. It's going to really show the quality of the field today.
Yeah, absolutely, and they've got the long parade lap as well today. So hopefully there's no 4Xs and no contact between cars and spinning cars on on the outlap, so we'll have to keep an eye on that because it's quite easy to do while you're in sort of a la land sort of mindset, just going cruising around the track. You can quite easily just drop a wheel and around you go. So yeah, I think these boys, 30 odd cars on the grid, most of these guys know what they're doing. So we'll have to keep an eye on as they should be gridding up, and I'll let you take the grid.
Yeah, so we've been through the top 10 already. Jake Edwards on pole, Adam Hughes rounds out the crisscross front row, Michael Whiting, Adam Simpson for Fishy Motorsports lock out the second row, Daniel Bryan and Kyle Ridley there, 5th and 6th, Bruce Tannock down in 7th, Gavin Simpson 8th, Andrew Linden 9, Owen Coleman 10, Blake Delaney 11, Ray Oliver 12. So a few fishies, a couple of frog leaps. We move back to 13th. No, timing screen's just had a jump. We moved to 13th. Jamie Dyke and Andrew Farrell in the Whitey's Pies entry there in 14th. Harry Dodds slips back down to 15th in the end of qualifying there. Nathan Gardner 16th. Adrian 17th. Braden 18th. Matthew Gerard 19th. Alan 20th. Dylan Thomas in the fishy car 21. Andrew Proctor 22. Vince and Randall down there in 23 and 24, and then rounding out the back of the grid, where was up to 25, Ty Delaney, Peter 26, Greg Johnson 27, Sebastian Flock 28th, Lachlan Capel 29th, Daniel Yeaman 30th, rounding up the field. And as we mentioned earlier, those drop bear boys choosing not to qualify. It seems to have been a bit of a trend as of late. These guys wanting to sort of work their way through the field, avoid that turn one carnage.
Yeah, it's sort of a risky, strategy as well when you've got a grid size of 31 odd cars. If anything happens, sort of 10th on backwards, they'll definitely be unsighted because they won't even be at the braking marker for turn one as those guys are exiting turn one where the crash might happen, which is a very, very common occurrence at Road America here. On the exit of turn one, people, cold tyres will understeer off, hit the grass and swing back across the track and collect a whole bunch of fielders that we've seen in multiple different officials and other leagues. So I reckon that could be a potential opportunity as well for people to either gain positions, but these boys so far have shown in the first 3 rounds they've given good respect on this first lap of racing, and if they can get through Winton last week with minimal crashes, I reckon they can do it here at Road America as well.
Yeah, this is probably a question better suited for you, but we talked a little bit in the previous rounds about car choice and which cars perform better at which tracks. What do you think is going to be the standout car here at Road America today?
The Porsche is definitely going to be the easiest on its tyres. So the front left around here at Road America gets absolutely hammered with the longer corners through the carousel and sort of that whole back sector all turning right really hurts that front left tyre. The Porsche's probably the easiest on the tyre. The Merc is definitely the quickest on a stint. As the fuel burns off, the rear of the car becomes more unstable. So if you got a really, really good setup, I'd definitely say the Porsche will be the car for the whole season. It seems like it's a little bit stronger if you can get a setup dialed in over the Merc. And the BMW is always there or thereabouts. It never has the outright speed because we can see Adam there in P4 in the Beamer. But it's always a nice solid car, and it's also one of the easiest on the fuel as well behind the Porsche. So it's easier to save fuel. The Merc is the heaviest on the fuel usage. But also has the biggest tank, so it's a bit heavier, and that's also why it chews its tyres a bit more. So the BOP iRacing to put into these cars is pretty good, but I would say if I had to pick a car if I was driving, it'd definitely probably be the Porsche for the season. Although it can be death at some certain tracks, it's just the most consistent over all of them.
Yeah, certainly a more intelligent answer than what I could have possibly give, so good to have that kind of insight from a championship winning driver such as yourself. So the pace lap here, we're just coming down the bottom straight now, lining back up through the kink, coming up through the last couple of corners. Front guys there just trying to get a little bit of extra tyres, warmth in their tyres.
I've just seen on the timing board as well, and it's come through on RC chat, Owen Coleman has spun on the outlap and has dropped from 10th down to and is just catching the back, so he will be starting from the back now. That's a costly mistake, costing him 20 positions there.
Yeah, especially to have a spin out on the parade lap. Interesting to sort of see how perhaps that happened.
I think he's just come through the right-hand kink by the look of it and just touched the grass, and around he's gone. So unfortunate, but easy to do.
Yeah, not the ideal situation to drop 20 positions before the race has even started. So as we round the final corner now, Jake Edwards will take control of the field. They'll back off a little bit and let the pace car pull into the pit lane, and we're just waiting for the jump. Cars all stacked up, and Jake's taking it right to the line, it seems. Adam Hughes sitting there patiently waiting, not wanting to miss the start, or jump the start, sorry. And the green flag does drop, and they are off. Jake Edwards will lead the field into turn 1. Great camera angle there. See all the action unfolding as 30 cars go screaming in, and there's action right
Blake Delaney!
Blake Delaney gets a bit of a shunt in the braking zone to find himself on the inside concrete wall. Other than that though, pretty clean coming down into turn 2. Blake will find himself rejoining at the back of the field.
Yeah, it's not ideal. It almost looked like he actually lost it under brakes there. It was really hard to tell. The car got so squirrely so quickly, and yeah, he's dropped right back down to the back. As there is unlimited fast repairs in this series, so he'll be coming in, I'd say, this lap for a pit stop, and he'll come and get that repaired, take a little bit of fuel, and go again. Although the damage doesn't look too bad on the cosmetic side. Oh, yeah, Bruce Tannock's around. There's a massive crash there as well at turn 3. Looks like Bruce has had a bit of a tag from Gavin Simpson in the Porsche, and it looks like that's
one of the Daniel cars involved there as well.
Yeah, it looks like it's a bit of an unfortunate start there with Bruce. So there's another one around at 4. Like Sebastian Flock that's also spun around in P4 alongside Mattia Gerard there as well, in the nice simple black livery with a silver fern on the side. So he's obviously from New Zealand, as he's off. That's Ty Delaney and the Fishies as well. So he's caught up. So it looks like close to 10 or 11 people have actually been caught up in this, and Sebastian Flock looks like he's wounded. He's sort of driving at about 3/4 pace. He looks like he's got pretty bad steering there, and he's crabbing a little bit coming around the carousel. So
car alignment definitely out there as you see him kind of limp around the carousel.
And there's Matty Gerard
in the wall again.
That could be a safety car there if he has to park there and then can't get away, and he'll have to request a tow. So there's a good chance that this is going to be a safety car, which is going to help those guys that were all involved in that early crash that can pit and come under it. And yes, indeed, there has been a safety car called, but I don't think it's come out in time to catch these leaders, as these guys all get slowed down. So I'd say we're definitely under yellow, but these guys are going to do one more lap and then they'll catch up to the McLaren safety car. So very lucky, as we see there, Greg rolling out in the safety car. So lucky for those guys that got caught up all on those 2-1 incidents, that they can essentially get a free pit stop, come in, get repaired, and go again. And even take a little bit of fuel, so make it later in the race they have to take less. So although it's an unfortunate start for those guys, it's, saving grace in a way as well.
Yeah, so in the pit lane at the moment, Blake Delaney, Lachlan Capel, Daniel Yeaman, Bruce Tannock, Daniel Bryan, Sebastian Flock, Ty Delaney. So quite a few top runners there caught up in some misfortune, and as you mentioned, free pit stop, and they're going to get, not that fresh tyres are going to give them a huge advantage, not even having finished a lap, but you mentioned there with the fuel, potentially just that extra lap or 2 they could gain a little bit later on in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Every little bit counts, especially if this comes down to a fuel-saving race. As we saw in, I think it was Winton, at Spa last week, where you had the guys diving in the last 2 laps because they just didn't have the fuel, versus Adam Hughes and Daniel Yeaman that sort of fuel saved early and made it through. But after all that chaos of the first lap, there's been a couple of big movers in this first lap. Peter Pavlovich is up 11 positions into P15. Randall Lepu is up 12 positions to P12. And Jared Farwell's up 7 positions into P7. So Good start there from quite a few guys. Obviously, you've got a few losers. Owen Coleman, after losing 20 positions with the self spin on the parade laps, already back up 11, so he's back up into 19th. So not too bad after a sort of self spin. But the big loser is Daniel Bryn, down 21 positions after that first lap incident, and Blake Delaney down 17. So a bit unfortunate for those guys, but as I say, it's a bit of a saving grace with the safety car. They can catch the train again and go again, and obviously qualifying up the front, they should have the pace to come through these AM guys as well and sort of get back into the mid-pack and go from there and hope for another safety car, I suppose.
Yeah, very early stages, obviously. You know, this race, hour and a half long. So, you know, 5 minutes in, to find yourself at the back probably isn't the worst position. There's no doubt going to be another safety car here, because these sort of incidents do happen around Road America. So plenty of opportunities for those guys that were a bit unlucky at the start to work their way back up through, and better to probably have the incident at the start rather than, you know, later on in the race.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's I've always been a believer that if you want to, you know, have a incident or a bad crash sort of stuff, it's way better to have it in the first couple laps than it is, you know, the last couple, because at least you'll have time. As you're saying, in a 90-minute race, you still have well over an hour to claw your way back and use other safety cars and use your strategy of fuel saving and stuff to get your way back up. Whereas obviously if it happens in the last couple of laps, your race is done pretty much, and you just got to deal with the consequences. But I reckon everyone right now will be turning their engine maps down, clutching in, and fuel saving as well, because although it's early days, every bit of fuel that they can save, and Adam Hughes is probably, for those that tune into SRW a lot, Adam Hughes is probably one of the best fuel savers in the series, in the league, along with Blake Delaney. They both seem to be just really, really good at fuel saving when it doesn't look like they are, and they can still maintain their pace. So, albeit.
Yeah, we've definitely seen on a couple of occasions Adam Hughes has ran the extra lap or two on the field, and it's given himself that unique opportunity to go a little bit harder on fresher tyres at the later stages of the race. He's had that little bit more grip advantage. You see they're really rolling the car around the carousel, letting the gravity do all the work, just feathering the steering through.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's with the GT3s as well. They've all of them have a safety car engine map as well, which uses only 25% fuel, so everyone will be probably on that as well, all doing what Adam's doing and clutching in the whole way around as he's getting the APS light splashing Jake in front of him, having a bit of fun between these crisscross boys as well up the front. So I think everyone's going to be on the fuel save, so I don't think anyone in particular is going to have an advantage on fuel come the restart. But the one thing that does happen if you are fuel saving like these guys are, and not weaving around, is your tyres do get extremely cold. And although these cars have ABS and traction control to assist these drivers, it's still very easy to spin on cold tyres, because it feels like you've got absolutely no grip at all.
Yeah, definitely tyre temp is going to be something that's probably not quite had the chance to get up yet, given that, you know, they're only 3 corners in before they had that incident and the safety car came out. So you know, tyres still coming up to temps. We rode on board there with Adam Simpson following the 2 crisscross cars. Adam's going to choose to fake a pit there.
I don't think anyone will be coming in this time round.
Bit early for the mind games, I think. It's pretty obvious that not a great opportunity to go into the pit there. But yeah. Adam, quite the comedian, no doubt, just looking to get a bit of a laugh.
Get a bit of stream time. Actually, looks like Blake Delaney, Bruce Tenick and Ty Delaney have all come back in again. So I think after their first lap mishaps, they will be just using it for fuel, topping up the tank as much as they can. While you're already at the back, you might as well.
Yeah, certainly an interesting tactic there from those boys, and like you say, it's not going to hurt them too much. They catch up the train again before the pace car comes in, and yeah, they can capitalise on that opportunity for sure.
Yeah, and I'd say that now that the train has all been caught by the safety car and just the length of the lap, this will be the last safety car lap, and they will be pulling away towards the back end of the lap, and we'll be able to hopefully go green next time by with Jake, Adam, and Adam leading the way in the top 3. Looks like it's going to be a bit of a crisscross versus Fishy's Motorsport at the moment up the front.
Yeah, well, I mean, those two teams have had a pretty good history when it comes to league racing in Australasia, especially competing up the front.
Yeah, absolutely. It's multiple series as well, and seasons ago these two teams went head to head in the Porsche Cup, with Fishy coming out on top, and again going head to head. It's Jamie Dyke versus Adam Hughes at the top of the championship, so Jamie's a little bit further back in 8th at the moment. So he has missed a round as well, so in this series everyone gets one drop round. So Adam and Jamie have both already used theirs, so they are in a straight out fight to the end of whatever results happen is going to be the end result between those guys. There are another couple of guys a little bit further down in the championship that haven't yet taken a 0 drop round, so if they have worse rounds then they'll get more points added as well. So coming later in the championship, these drop rounds are going to be crucial for some of the guys that are sort of lower down, because if they can keep getting good results then they'll be able to gain up on these guys, and they might come out of nowhere and fight Jamie and Adam as well for the championship. So
yeah, definitely those drop rounds are advantageous if you're there every week, because even if you do have a bad result, you're still scoring points, but if that gets dropped it does improve your average overall. Obviously dropping a 0 is as good as not being there, so if you can show up every week and score somewhat consistently, it's going to give yourself a pretty good chance to be up the pointy end of the championship a bit later on.
Oh, absolutely. As the safety car has pulled away now, so the field is in the control of Jake Edwards, who will be holding 90 kph, and it seems like a couple of guys there are trying to catch the train a little bit too fast and sort of creating a concertina effect, as you can see in the back of the grid there. So nice sort of 3 car length gap between Adam and Jake. I think Adam will be just keeping a nice little gap to Jake, and when Jake goes they'll probably be in the same Discord chat, so he'll be telling Adam when to go, and then they can get a little bit of jump on those Fishy boys and the rest of the pack, with Jared in P7 as well, being the teammate for Jake Edwards in the series. There's a good chance he might be able to get a good jump as well, and jump a couple of these other guys, as one of the BMWs is from Frog Leap has gone past. That could have been a wave around potentially.
Yeah, Matty Gerard going around. He has a lap down on the timing screen. I'm not quite sure how that's happened, but
could have been a wave around.
No, it's Matty Gerard showing as a lap down.
Yes, Matty Gerard must have got a wave around, but it looked like it was definitely one of the Fishy, sorry not Fishy, Frog Leap guys in the BMWs, and they're going side by side here.
Yeah, that's a bit of a weird one. Alrighty, so we're back to green racing again as we ride on board down the back of the pack. So Kyle Ridley's taken a wave around. That's interesting. He's found himself at the front of the pack. So
I think he might have jumped the start then, and there might be a penalty coming Kyle's way potentially, because he definitely went well before anyone else, and as per the rules it's on the leader to go from an acceleration zone, which is the last corner, to the start finish line. So might see a penalty coming in for car number 9 there, but we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll see if we can hear what Race Control has to say about it in the near future.
Yeah, certainly an interesting one there. We thought it was perhaps a wave around. Matthew Gerard is showing a lap down on timing stream, which is weird, but yeah, a bit of action at the back here as we jump with Andrew Proctor, Daniel Byrne, and a bit of contact there. The car gets all loose but manages to hang on to it. Great close racing there, door-to-door action, and good car control there from Daniel Byrne to keep that pointing forward. Andrew Proctor there in the background.
He's got Blake Delaney right behind him, who's making his way back through the field after his first lap incident, so he'll be trying to dispatch of these guys pretty quickly. Both Daniel and Andrew are in the AM Championship, and Blake there is in the Pro, so it could be...
Looks
like our iRacing might have crashed. Oh, we're back!
We're back again.
and we're back, but yeah, it looks like Owen Coleman is in P14, so he's actually come back too bad, and Harry Dodds has had a mare. He has spun at the kink and done the same thing as Matty Gerard has done and spun at the kink, but he's been able to get going again, so he'll be coming in this lap. Kevin.
Yeah, so Kyle Ridley's into the pit, so we're guessing that is a penalty for jumping the start, we assume. So
and
Jacob Woods has resumed the race lead.
Yeah, it looks like Gavin
Simpson as well, yeah.
He's serving a drive-through penalty for his lap 1 crash with Bruce Tannock at turn 3. So he's taking his drive-through and he's back out again. Harry Dodds will be coming in and taking a fast repair absolutely for that car, as he lost it at the kink and has spun into the wall, which is very easy to do at this track. It's a corner that is flat, but it's also a corner that you have to get absolutely pinpoint perfect in order for it to be flat. Yeah, so it's not an easy one, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, Jake Edwards there getting a pretty good jump off the restarts, pulled out a second, just under a second and a half already. Adam Hughes also has got a pretty good gap back to Adam Simpson, so you know, good start from the crisscross boys, leading the field quite nicely, although Adam Simpson is closing in that gap, just ever so slightly pulling back in. We've got Michael Whiting there back and forth in the other fishy Mercedes, and Jamie Dyke has found his way up into 5th place. He's come up 8 spots now, and Jared Farrowell in the Whitey's Pies Porsche again climbing up the ladder as well, up 8 positions as well in 6th place. So a few of those guys moving up to the top. Ray Oliver there in the fishy car, he's come up a few as well, as we see a moment there for Alan Dawson. That's coming off the end of the carousel, I believe. Yes, yep.
Yeah, it looks like he's gone head first into a wall there, looking at the front of his car. It's quite heavily damaged, so I'd say he's possibly hit that outside curb and just dipped it in the grass, and around she's gone.
Yeah, certainly we've mentioned a couple of times already that carousel is a really good balance of throttle and steering. Randall here on screen, a 9th up 15 so far, currently the biggest mover up the field in the Mercedes, coming around turn 1 now. Merc, definitely one of the nicest sounding cars in the GT class.
Yeah, it's the Merc's very deceiving to drive because due to its low rumbling V8 and a lot of download torque, it's, you actually run higher gears than you think. So for some of these corners, like an example in the Porsche, you'll be in 2nd gear or even 1st gear at this corner down here as we're coming down to the end of the back straight. But in the Merc, you only want to hit 2nd. If you go down to 1st, you'll lock the res and around you go. So it's definitely one of the best sounding, but it's also very deceiving in the sound because it sounds like it has no revs, but it's actually in its power band, and it's very tricky. It can play mind games with you.
Yeah, a bit like the Ferrari, I think, too. Like the Ferrari, obviously in real life has 7 gears, and the sim it only has 6. So 2nd gear is actually 1st gear in the Ferrari, and not many guys choose to drive it, as we jump on board with Ty Delaney, who's found himself around at turn 4, I think that is, coming off the exit of the back straight. Turn 3, sorry, coming off the exit of the back straight. Keeps it out of the wall, just found himself in the sand, so probably a bit too much exit curb, a bit too much throttle on the exit curb there, and he's found himself around.
Very easy to do at this track. It's as I was saying earlier, it's got no runoff. So if you go off track, you're either in the grass or you're in the gravel, and that makes it very, very hard to, you've got a 90 minutes of you have to be on it all the time. As it looks like Harry Dodds is coming to the pit lane again after going out. So
80s in the background there gets all loose on the grass. That was Michael Whiting, I believe.
Whiting.
I was just trying to find the list of names on the sheet there. So yeah, regathers, you'll get past there by Jamie Dyke up the home straight.
And it looks like Peter Pavlovich has also gone off at that last corner. He's just lost 5 positions, dropping from P11 down to P17. Now he's just lost another one on the start-finish line. So Peter Pavlovich has had a bit of a moment. As you can see, a car smoking in the pit lane by the look of that screen. As it looks like it's Harry Dodds, and his engine has expired. So we'll have to see if he comes back out. It looks like he is coming back out after another fast repair. So he'll be 2 laps down now, I believe, or 1 lap down on everyone. So Harry's not having the best of races so far, but anything can happen. More safety cars, more wave rounds, and he could get back on that lead lap and gain some more positions.
Yeah, definitely. One safety car is all it's going to take for Harris. We see a very loose exit there from him on turn 2, clipping the grass over the little rumble strip there. So just looking to regain some composure, I think. If he can get a couple of good laps in, find his rhythm, he's certainly the kind of driver that's going to pull down this field and, you know, give himself a good chance. He's only 1 lap down on the timing screen now as we ride on board with him. So, yeah, like you say, one safety car is all it's going to take for him to get right back up.
Oh, absolutely, and another person that's has come back as well is Adam Simpson's hunting down Adam Hughes, the battle of the Adams. Hopefully we'll see this throughout the whole season, but Adam Simpson's definitely pushing this Beamer. It is pretty good on its tyres as well for a stint length, so he might be trying to go the faster first stint and maybe even take some fresh tyres in the latter race, because the front lefts, or the lefts in general, really do around here, as we've got sort of a crisscross and fishy battle for the top 6 at the moment, with Jake and Adam representing crisscross up the front, and then you got Adam, Jake and Michael from Fishies, and then Jared Farrell in P6 from crisscross as well. It looks like Dylan Thomas has gone off as well. He's losing position, he's tumbling down the live timing tower at the moment. He was up in 15th, he's now down in 24th.
Yeah, gets it wrong coming into the last corner. Hey, look, I've got to head off, guys. I am doing a Sandown 500, but certainly an exciting race here. And Stefan and Toddy make sure they carry it through to finish off, and catch you guys later.
Catch you. Thank you for your time, Brendan. As Dylan definitely hit the wall there. I think he would have come out of Canada corner and possibly lost it. But Jake Edwards here, sort of just commanding the race at the moment. He's got a 1.5 second lead over the rest of the field, which isn't a huge gap, but with the pace these boys are running at, doing consistent low 2-minute 3s, it's definitely a high race pace, and they're definitely pulling away, half a second a lap on P4 and backwards. So these top 3 are the ones to watch, I would say, in terms of outright pace if it stays green for the remaining. What have we got? Another hour yet to go here, so anything can happen here. You got the drop curve boys still making their way through from the back of Lockie Capel. He's up 18 positions. Sebastian
the fastest lap as well, Stefan, which has been. Hello everybody. I thought I'd just jump in and help you if you'd like some help. Tell me to go away if you'd like, but I'll stay here on the cameras. But I just noticed Lockie Capel's just got the fastest lap in the race so far as well, so he's on a charge.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah. And he's always quick in a GT3, no matter, for those that have been around the GT3 scene and raced in Apex Hunters United and AOG and stuff, he's always someone that's up there, and he's always super quick in GT3s, it's his sort of speciality, so always expect him to be around. He won Winton by I think it was about 20 or 30 seconds over Sebastian Flock, so anything can happen, especially with the sort of track we're at. If you have the outright pace and then you get a little bit of a tow like he's going to get here, as he's looks like he's going to try and make a pass on Randall. I reckon he'll make it into turn 1 as they come up the main straight here.
Oh well, hot news off the press, the Sandown 500 was postponed due to lack of entry, so I'm back!
And just like that, we're back.
Absolutely seamless, guys. Just fabulous.
But it's this race is sort of slowly panning out. As I was saying before, the top guys are doing very low 203s, with a 203.1, a 203 dead, and a 203.1 by the top 3, and then everyone else is in the 203.4s or 203.5s, until you get back to, as we were saying before, with Lockie Capel, who's also in the low 203.2s. So these top guys are pulling out close to half a second per second a lap.
And Andrew Lyon and the kitten car, it's an interesting spot to have a bit of it. It looks like he's gone a bit over the ripple strip in the braking zone and he's slapped it across into the inside wall. Certainly an unusual one for that corner. It's usually a wide exit, so we'll see Adrian and get around the outside of him there and move through. No, he's sort of sticking with him a little bit.
It looks like even though he's got
No,
some front end damage, it doesn't look like he's down on pace. Just as you're saying there, Adrian couldn't really get past him on the straight, so it could just be cosmetic with the way iRacing's damage model is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very squished looking Porsche GT3 arc there, but he could actually get away with that, mainly because, yeah, as Toddy was saying, it's rear engine, so we'll have to keep an eye and see what Peter Pavlovich and Nathan Gardner here can do behind. It does look like Andrew is going to let them go potentially. It's kind of hard to tell.
He's given them a bit of room. He's certainly conceding. He's not up to full pace, and the kit car of Daniel Byrne gets through as well, now running in 16th position.
Yeah, and Blake Delaney's making his way back through the field quite nicely as well, after his first lap incident. So he's on the charge. He's going to catch these guys pretty soon. Manny G here as well. Needs to pass. He's behind Nathan Allen, which is not full position. Manny G is trying to unlap himself and race his way back onto the lead lap, and so it'll be interesting. He's definitely got the pace here to do it, and Nathan has actually just let him go. He's recognised that. Matt is on potentially fresh tyres if he took tyres when he came in for his pit stop, and he's got the pace as well. So the next one in front of Matthew, they're just going to try and unlap himself from, is Gavin Simpson, who's about 4 seconds up the road, and Bruce Tannock has had a moment in the number 31. He has definitely had a bit of a crash, and I think he's done that all by himself as well.
Yeah, so the first half hour of this race hasn't really been going to plan there for Bruce Tanner, because he comes into pit as Lion exits. So yeah, a couple of incidents there early on for Bruce Tanner. Definitely one of the front runners in this series so far. Finds himself back down in 28th now, and he's probably almost at risk of finding himself a lap down here actually. No, Jake Edwards is just coming around the second to last corner now, so no, he will stay on the lead lap, yeah. But yeah, certainly not where Bruce would expect himself to be.
No, absolutely not. But again, if you get a safety car, and if it's very shortly, you know, everyone in front will probably take that opportunity, because you can normally do about an hour on a tank. Obviously, that's reduced down to 70%, so I reckon people will still take the opportunity just to top up the tank, and then he'll be able to gain all that time back and probably gain, you know, another 10 or 12 positions just from those that are pitting. So definitely be interesting. It's got Jared Farewell there on screen, and Ray Oliver, and I think the battle here between Owen Coleman and Lockie Capel has caught him again. Caught another car with his last lap being a 203 dead, so he's going the exact same pace as these top three. So he's not really gaining on them, but well, as I say that, he's just gone 18th faster with the 202.4 being the fastest lap of the race with that toe that he's just got. He just dip a right rear into exit of turn one, which is normally pretty lethal in this car.
Lockie Capel on the charge.
Absolutely, he's on the charge, and if I was Owen, unfortunately it looks like he might have already lost the toe, but just try and stay with him, and just try and drag him up to his next target, which is going to be Ray Oliver. So looks like Lockie's definitely got a good setup on this Porsche, and he's driving it like a madman, trying to catch all these top guys, and hopefully he'll still be probably hoping to throw a couple of safety cars, just to gain that sort of 11 odd seconds that he is behind, or 15 seconds that he is behind Jake Edwards at the front, which I know there's still an hour with the racing, but that's a big gap to try and keep back down with doing quite similar pace and fresh air.
Yeah, you mentioned Owen Coleman out of that toe. He's out of that toe. Sorry, he's dropped a second and a half. You know, in space of 2 or 3 corners. So Lachlan really just charging in front of him there, and he's got what 2 seconds up to no, about a second and a half again up to Ray Oliver. So you know, the rate he's going, expect to see him catch him up within the next lap or two.
Yeah, absolutely. It's only a second and a half behind him, so I'm going to say if you can onto him the way he's been going, probably onto the back straight, and he might get him into turn 3 or 4 as we go back live with these leaders as they're all going wide.
Yeah,
Jake Edwards just makes the corner, and Adam behind him just pushing too far and go over the track, which you've got to push to your limit to obviously get your lap times, but there's obviously a fine edge there as well where it's too far and you can quite easily dip that left rear and around you go into the inside wall.
Yeah, both the Adams there right on the edge of losing their cars. They both had to have a little bit of a catch there, but certainly the Adam and Adam battle as we move back to Michael Whiting in 4th. He's got back ahead of Jamie Dyke, I believe. Jamie Dyke was in front of him just before. Maybe
yeah,
not.
Jamie made a mistake coming out of the last corner a few laps ago, and Michael was able to get back past them again.
Yeah, that was that bit when I wasn't here, obviously. Alrighty, yeah. So those two fishy boys there, running pretty strongly together. If they can get up onto Adam, it's going to certainly make a good battle there for those guys to chase down those crisscross boys at the front. As we see Lachlan now starting to close in on the back of Ray Oliver. We called it pretty accurately to get down him on this next lap, and I think you've mentioned turn 3. He's getting right up, not right up, but you know, certainly within striking distance coming out of 4 down the hill into the carousel. So probably at this stage lining up something down the end of the bottom straight.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's about the corner. It's probably the best corner for overtaking is sort of, and you can draft up the hill obviously into turn 1, turn 3 down the back straight, or into Canada corner down this part of the track where we're on board now past this right kink. And Ray, being the smart man he is, I don't think he'll fight it too hard as well, knowing that Lachlan is putting in these lap times that are almost a second quicker every lap. I think he'll be smart and he'll just let him go when he catches him.
Oh, he pokes his nose, but not quite able to get up inside. Uses all the exit curb there. He's definitely got right up on top of him now, though. Poor exit there from Ray Oliver. It's going to give Lachlan a good chance to line him up down the home straight. We saw it just a couple of laps ago. The move on Owen Coleman, fairly similar to this, just slips out of the draft and drags up the straight. And that's incredible speed coming from that Porsche up the home straight there. Definitely get this move done with the inside line down onto turn 1.
Yeah, and Ray will, I'm going to say back out of this, yeah, there he goes, back just lifts the throttle a little bit and lets Lockie by. With the Porsche having a bit more mechanical grip as well, it can afford to run a little bit less aero downforce. So there's a good chance that Porsche will actually just be naturally quicker in a straight line as well. And at a track like Road America, it's definitely beneficial to have an extra sort of 5 kilometers an hour going down the straights.
Yeah, and we see all the exit curb there used from Lockie. He just dips that wheel in the grass, but it doesn't seem to be hurting him too much. He's getting good drive off the corners and down the straights. He's currently chasing down Jared Farrowell in the Whitey's Pies Porsche. Jared running a pretty quiet race at the moment. He's got a little bit of gap sort of both ways. A couple of seconds either side of him, just in his own little space at the moment, running there in 6th place.
Yeah, it looks like he avoided that incident that between Gavin Simpson and Bruce Tannock earlier on, and from there just sort of gained a few positions and just sort of kept them, really. With the other guy's misfortune, he was able to gain those positions, and he's just, yeah, as you're saying, having a good solid race in P6, up 8 positions, and his lap times aren't too bad. He's matching the 3 cars in front of him of Jamie, Michael and Adam.
Yeah, those sort of 3.7s, 3.8s. Yeah, certainly in that sort of ballpark area.
Yeah, and then you've got obviously Lockie doing the low 3s, high 2s. So yeah, he's got the pace of the guys in front. I think he might just need to, you know, have them have a little mistake, and he'll be right on it with he's 3 seconds behind Jamie Dyke in front of him. But also he is pretty smart with his racecraft, so when Lockie catches him, I expect him to let Lockie by and actually use him for a tow. As looks like Adam Simpson is in the pit lane after 32 minutes. We've got our first pit stopper, which to me would indicate that it is a 2-stop race. After 32 minutes, I don't think you can get 58 minutes out of a tank. And Bruce Tannock has also blown his engine again and had the same incident again. So I think he's losing it at the kink, would be my guess, because that's definitely the sort of crash that we can see. But I'm going to say that's going to put him, yeah, it's definitely put him a lap behind.
Yeah, well, now with Adam being in the pit lane, yeah. So, you know, we mentioned at the top of the broadcast Adam Hughes being probably one of the best fuel savers in the league. So if Adam Simpson's in the pit lane now, it'll be very interesting to see. I think we'll expect to see Jake Edwards in this lap. Maybe Adam Hughes goes 1 lap longer.
Yeah, it really depends how much they were able to save under that first safety car, and also Adam Simpson could just be going for an undercut and definitely committing to a 2-stop, where these boys up the front might be hoping for some more yellow and trying to commit to a 1-stop. So definitely the strategy's still up in the air at the moment. Looks like Nathan Allen has also made a pit stop. So there's a couple of guys coming in, but as I say, they could be the ones that are 100% committing to a 2-stop race.
Yeah, definitely. It's still very early in the strategy game, but definitely that sort of half hour, 40-minute mark with the 70% fuel capacity, certainly going to be getting to that stage now, I think, where most of these drivers are going to be looking at how they're going to run this race. Lachlan Capel finds himself up into 5th place, so he does get in front of Jared Farrowell. Now chasing down Jamie Dyke and Michael Whiting.
Yeah, the pace he's going about a second a lap faster, so I'm going to say by about like 19 to 20 at his current rate, he's going to be right on the back of these guys, and he'll be trying to fight for that podium position after only 35 minutes. So he's had a charge from the back, and obviously he's avoided those first lap incidents where he was able to probably gain 8 to 10 positions from the guys that had to pit. So he's making it work starting from the back.
Yeah, up 24 at the moment. He's just over 3 seconds behind Jamie Dyke at the moment. Actually, he's just slipped under the 2.9 on the gaps there. So definitely charging through in that Drop Bear Motorsports Porsche. So just a fact there from Toddy in the back of our area. The last 8 laps from Lachlan Capel have been the 8 fastest laps in the race. So just goes to show the pace that Lachlan currently has in that Porsche around Road America here.
Yeah, it's definitely it's putting it to good use, as we've got a couple of good battles out there. Just looking at the time intel, obviously got Jamie right behind Michael, who'll be working as teammates to probably fuel save and make it last
there with Blake Delaney. Sorry, cut you off there a little bit. So the battle now for 11th place: Braden O'Loughlin, Adrian, Daniel Byrne, Blake Delaney. Those 4 guys all within a second of each other, so not really battling as such. They are running in a bit of a train. Obviously Braden in front there in the Frog Leap car, the 2 kittens in behind, and it looks like they're going to capitalise on that little mistake there from Braden, and potentially all 3 of them are going to go past here as well. Definitely the 2 kittens are going to slip through, and Blake's going to have a look up the inside. So that little slip into the tyre wall definitely cost him 2 positions as we start around the carousel. Blake will be lining him up, no doubt, for something down the Canada corner.
Yeah, and it's quite an interesting battle, because out of these 4, Blake Delaney is the only one that's classed as a pro division, and Braden, Adrian, and Daniel are. Oh no, sorry, Daniel's also in the pro division. So you've got two pro drivers essentially versus 2 of the AM guys. So although obviously they had their own misfortunes in the race, these guys can still, AM guys can still put it to these pro drivers, and say I'm here and I'm coming for your number essentially, and try and make the passes.
Yeah, definitely. So just for the viewers who aren't aware, how is the classification of pro and pro-am or amateur decided?
So it was done over the first 3 rounds, and it was done via average starting position, average race lap, average quali lap. iRating didn't really have a factor, but it also went off officials. Went back through all the drivers' officials and saw sort of based off their results and what they were doing within our league as well. And we went from there and put it all into a big Google Doc calculator, and it spat out numbers, and then we just split those numbers in half.
Right.
So it's worked out pretty accurately so far, with sort of where the results have been, and those that are in the AM class have always sort of been around each other. Oh, we've got a bit of contact here.
Contact from Vince there, and Andrew Proctor finds himself straight lined off through the gravel and into the fence. That may trigger a safety car.
Yeah, if Vince Mr. was on the inside there, and he was definitely a long way up. So he commanded the corner, but I think Andrew
well
didn't think he was quite there.
Definitely entitled to the corner, that was for sure.
Oh, and Andrew's definitely stuck there. So as long as he requests to tow and follows the rules, there will definitely be a safety car here. I would guess, as that is we've got all the leaders in as well. So I believe a safety car might have been called. Greg Barber is out on the track, coming out on the track. So we are under yellow. And this is our second safety car after 17 laps here. At 40 minutes, 2 safety cars. It's not actually too bad on a track like this. They can normally come a lot quicker. So these top boys, I'd say everyone will take this opportunity to pit now and you could possibly make it to the end, depending on how long the safety car is. If you jump in and fuel save, I reckon you might almost be able to squeak it to the end here.
Yeah, so the top 9, top 10, top 11, they're all diving in the pit lane now.
I think everyone's in top 14, top 15.
Yeah, the one to watch, Adam Simpson, of course, currently in 18th. He'll probably stay out. Gavin Simpson's chosen to stay out.
Yeah,
So
Gavin Simpson had the penalty
pick up the pace car. So currently up to 17th in the pit lane. Gavin Simpson coming around in 18th.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's chosen to stay out. So he'll come out for third. So Adam Hughes has had a great pit stop. Jake Edwards, something's gone wrong with his pit stop. He finds himself now in 6th place, perhaps choosing to take an extra couple of tyres. Or a bit more. No, they would have filled. They all would have filled to the end, I would have thought, or tried to.
Yeah, he's had an extra 8 seconds of pit time than anyone else. So I'm gonna say Adam was probably saving. So yeah, that's why he had such a good pit stop. But yeah, I'm gonna say Jake might have even taken 2 tyres.
Yeah, so Adam Hughes there finds himself in 2nd. Adam Simpson in 3rd. Gavin Simpson, who currently is behind the pace car leading this race, is yet to complete a pit stop.
Maybe he thinks he can't make it even under with the caution, so he might be taking the opportunity to. Well, actually, he would have put it under the first safety car, so he might think that if he go and then there's another safety car, then he can make it to the end. So
no, he's not been down the pit lane at all. Gavin Simpson's not been in the pit lane at all.
Oh, that's right. He had a penalty. That's right. He had a penalty for the Bruce Tanek incident. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, then they are back on track together. Bruce Tanek and Gavin Simpson, but Bruce Tanek is a lap car, so I'd expect him to be getting a wave around once the field is under control, and that will make Adam Hughes. It will correct the order and put Adam Hughes up into P2 on track as well, right behind Gavin.
Yeah, certainly an interesting tactic here from Gavin, I think. Lachlan Capel has done very well out of all this. He finds himself in 4th place now, and he did pit as well. So in the the safety car, under safety car, so he's done very well. Obviously taking less fuel than his pit stop, so a bit of a shorter pit stop time. He was about 5 seconds faster than Adam.
Yeah, he's got the pace. It definitely looks like he's got the pace. Yeah, he might have just short fueled it to get a bit of track position, jump a couple of these boys, jump the 2 fishy boys that were in front of him, and then he's going to come out and try and just drive away from the field on low fuel, and then take the hit in the later pit stop. So I think he's still committing to making another pit stop. So I don't think these boys think they can make it yet. But it does look like we're still going to have a potential couple more laps under safety car here. So that's going to burn another probably 5 minutes off the clock for these boys. Which
I mean the general vibe with less than half of the time used up would suggest that these guys are pretty much all committing to at least a 2-stop. Gavin Simpson there may be trying to push a 1-stop if they can run the safety car out past the 45-minute mark, because there's been a bit of a concertina effect there, some cars stopping on track just to check up and avoid the incidents.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit weird. That
a little bit interesting one.
Yeah.
Just down the back of the field there, in the sort of late teens to the 20s.
So looks like someone might have had potential hardware failure, or something you never know. But it was definitely a big gap there between a couple of the cars as they were catching the train. They could also just be catching the train at a safe pace, so they don't have to slam on the brakes, because they may not be aware. They may not run track maps or overlays to actually see where the car in front is on the track.
Yeah, definitely interesting one. So Bruce Tanek there, I see on the track map on screen, has had a wave around. So he is currently trying to get back to the back of the train.
Yeah, looks like Matty G has also got his lap back under that safety car as well, so he's not pitted. And got his lap back. So everyone is now back on lead lap, I believe.
Green. No. So Harry Dodds is in the pit lane again now also. So that could potentially be a stop to the finish for Harry as we do approach the halfway mark. Obviously, he's had a bit of a rough start to the race, so he'll find himself running in 28th.
Yeah, I mean, if you're at the back already, you might as well. If you can stretch it, you might as well come in. If you definitely know there's another lap of safety car happening, and then you can, as you say, potentially stretch it. And if you can still fuel save and make it, and the rest of the guys can't, you know, it's a 30 odd second transit down the pits. At Road America being a very long pit lane, so if you can stay within 30 seconds of the car in front, you know, that could be the Masters winning strategy.
And pretty safe for Harry too. Andrew Proctor's just coming up the hill now, up the straight, so it's going to be interesting to see if Andrew Proctor gets Harry here. Is he still sitting, just dropped now? So
definitely think Andrew's going to get him here.
Yeah, Andrew's going to get him.
On the stream.
Will come out ahead of Bruce Tannock though, who had the other wave around.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to slot into P29. And I think these boys are potentially still going to go one more lap on the safety car. We'll have to keep an eye and see if Greg pulls away from the field, because if they don't, I don't think these boys are actually going to catch the train coming out of turn 2 with the train coming out of the carousel. And
where's Matty G on track?
He is at the back of the train.
Right. Okay, so he might be a lap. Oh no, sorry, the timing screen is showing him behind Bruce Tannock, so he could potentially be a lap down.
Yes, I believe he is, but it does look like Greg is not pulling away from the field, so I think they're going to go one more lap by the look of this.
That could potentially give Matty G a wave around, but I think it'll be a bit late at this stage to do
With
that.
the lap time, he might get told to go on the front straight, and he'll be able to catch, but I don't think he'll be able to catch the train up again. Anyways, it looks like Andrew Proctor's had a bit of a moment and actually gone off track under safety car trying to catch the train. And Harry Dodds is caught right back up to him, so he's had a little bit of a moment trying to run race pace to catch back up to the train, which he doesn't really need to do because the
he's certainly got time.
They're going another lap, so obviously you want to catch them because the sooner you catch them, obviously the sooner you can go full fuel save mode. But at the same time, you obviously don't want to overwork the tyres as you're coming out of the pits and burn them up too quickly either, and obviously crash.
Yeah, and I mean you're burning fuel pushing it to catch the train as well. You can kind of cruise at a steady pace and you use a bit less fuel. So yeah, interesting to see that they're going so hard, given that these boys will know the pace car's out for another lap.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are definitely going to get one more lap under safety car, which is going to push it out to about the 50-minute mark, I reckon. Which means there'll only be about 40 minutes left in the race. So that probably is about a fuel tank.
Yeah, so Greg Johnston and Kyle Ridley make their way into the pit, so that'll drop them to the back of the field.
Yeah, I think they can do a splash and dash from here and make it to the end, I reckon.
Yeah, I definitely think for the likes of Kyle Ridley, who likes to run along, and he's a fairly competitive front runner, he's probably starting to think now, right, let's finish the race on this one.
Yeah, Lockie Capel has jumped Adam Simpson.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Because they're under safety car conditions, and Lachlan Capel's found himself in front of Adam Simpson, so that's interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. Unless it was coming out of pit lane, maybe because Adam Simpson was on a fast lap, he had already made his pit stop. So there's a good chance on the rejoin that Lockie Capel was actually already deemed to be out on the track, and race control have made him redress that position. Would be my guess. That would all check out with what has gone on, so that's put Lockie up into third, right on the back of these top two.
Yeah, and it's certainly going to be a very interesting restart. Jake Edwards, who's led the race pretty much the whole way, finds himself down in 6th place. Gavin Simpson, of course, still yet to pit, so we're probably going to see Wow, it's interesting. You know, I think if Gavin would be silly to pit now with the safety car coming in, he's going to lose a lot of track time. Probably would have
Yeah,
been better
he's
to make
gonna
that
have to
move
try.
in the last
Yeah,
lap.
I think if he was gonna pit, yeah, he should have done it last lap. So at least he was still on the train. If he pits now, he's gonna lose, you know, probably 30 seconds, if not more, to the car in last place. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting strategy. I think he's definitely going to be hoping for a little bit of green flag running so he can pull a bit of a gap and then dive in under another safety car. But Greg Barber has pulled away as these guys are just doing that little Constantina effect as the leader maintaining 90 kph. So I wonder if Gavin's going to go early or go late and hold them up, because he's in control of the field. The acceleration zone is second to last corner to the start-finish line, so he can go anywhere from there as long as race control is called that Greg has pulled off the track and is in the pit lane in the safety car. So personally, I'd probably just line up the last corner and straight line it a little bit on the exit and just sort of gun it there. But you know, that's the way I do things. Everyone does it differently.
Yeah, well, Greg Barber is now in the pit lane with the safety car, so Gavin Simpson does have control of the field. And you mentioned there running that very wide line through the last corner. Doesn't look like he's jumping though.
There he
Oh
goes.
no, he has there on the exit. Takes the run up the hill. Gives himself a little bit of a gap back to Adam Hughes. Caught him sleeping a little bit, but he has stuck with him.
Yeah, I think they were all expecting him to do the same as what I said, but then he sort of just waited for the exit, then gunned it. So was able to gain that half a second quite nicely and get a good jump on the rest of the boys.
Yeah, he's just left that extra seconds. We see Jamie Dyke there dip a wheel into the grass, coming through the inside of one. Bit of contact there further back in the field. Sebastian Flock trying to get a move done. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, Sebastian Flock, yeah, on the inside there. Over the juiced car of Ray Oliver. And Ray Oliver again vulnerable to Owen Coleman. Down the back straight, who's got the inside line coming down to turn 3. Looks to make the dive, hasn't quite got the overlap, does now. Very late on the brakes, but pulls it up nicely. Great pass there from Owen Coleman, coming back up the hill. So
yeah, it's a good restart there by Owen after his starting in 30th position, essentially after his mistake on the outlap. He's already back into the top 10 and actually up a position from his original qualifying grid.
Yeah, and Sebastian Flock, another big mover up the field, up 20 positions now, currently running in 8th position. Ray Oliver's had a bit of a mixed race so far. He's been up and down the grid a little bit. Currently finds himself in 10th, which is 2 up from qualifying, but certainly we've seen some good passing from him, and we've seen him be vulnerable a couple of times. Just some guys moving through as we jump on with Jared Farrowell in the Whitey's Pies Porsche. Lucked out a little bit there in the pit stop shuffle, finds himself now running 11th, and currently got Blake Delaney right behind him, who no doubt will be looking to get a move done very quickly. Blake trying to charge back up through the field after what was a pretty bad start for him. He's currently 1 down from qualifying, so getting past Jared will put him back to where he started. Daniel Byrne in the kitten car right behind, no doubt looking to follow Delaney through as well. Move back there to Adrian Loretti, the teammate in the other kitten car. And Randall there.
Lockie Caples also made the move on Adam Hughes up for P2. So I think Adam Hughes has just let him go. Adam's pretty smart and would much rather fuel save, so I think he's just recognised Lockie's got too much pace, and he'll probably just try and tag along. Because Gavin, with his strategy, he can't really afford to let people go in front of him. He sort of has to dictate the pace and hope that it's quicker than everyone else. And he was only a 10th slower than Lockie last lap, so I think if Gavin can, depending on his fuel load, go another 15-ish minutes at this pace, I think he'll be okay in terms of strategy if there's another safety car. But yeah, Lockie's definitely keeping that charge up. Obviously he's starting in 29th, he's up 27 positions. He's definitely the biggest mover of the day. So yeah, we'll have to see where he sort of pans out in this next 35 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. If Lockie passes Gavin in the next 2 or 3 laps, it's kind of race over for Gavin, really. He makes himself very vulnerable to Adam, and both Adams in behind, and of course the fishy boys there, Jamie, Michael and and whatnot, and behind they're all waiting for the opportunity as well. So Gavin will sort of, if he gets past in the next couple of laps, he'll just about need to dive into the pits because the strategy won't sort of come to fruition like he's going to hope. And Lachlan is closing in down the bottom straight here into Canada Corner. He's not going to get a move done, but he's certainly got right up on his bumper now, letting him know he's there.
And same with Owen Coleman. Owen Coleman's chasing down Jamie Dyke, and he's only a tenth behind him as they come into Canada Corner as well. So we might be able to shoot back, and there he is coming onto this main straight. So we'll stay on board here and just see how this goes, as he might be able to get a draft. The Merc is definitely quicker on a straight line. He's got a much better exit using all that curve. So he's coming up the hill with the draft, I think.
Yeah, he's certainly got the toe.
Hit him.
Gavin Simpson has pulled into the pit lane there, so obviously a little bit vulnerable on exit there to Lockie. And Gavin's just decided to let him go, and he finds himself in the pit lane as there's contact between Owen and Jamie. And Jamie eats the concrete. He's upside down, rolled the car, and that will definitely trigger a safety car. So worst possible timing for Gavin, I think, to go in just seconds early. He's going to find himself right at the back now. And I think too, we might see all these guys that would talk, looking at potentially a two-stop, certainly at this stage, I think, probably
Greg Barber is making his way out. So this is definitely going to be a safety car. Here's Greg's making his way out onto the pit, onto the track. So it actually probably doesn't harm Gavin, although, you know, he made his pit stop. He's going to be able to get past the safety car here as long as race control will let him by. As you can see at the top of the screen there, he's come out just behind the safety car. So as long as the safety car lets him by in a reasonably quick time frame, he won't be too bad and he'll be able to catch the train. But that's very unfortunately for Jamie, having a good battle up in P as there goes, being lit by the safety car. So unfortunately for Jamie, for sure, he was battling P7 there with Owen, and it looks like Owen might have just sort of jinked left and then come back and drifted right into Jamie. So very unfortunate there, and that obviously he's got the fast repair, so he'll be able to come back out and hopefully not lose a lap, depending on how bad his
the back of the train.
Yeah, so as long as he can get out in a quick time frame, if he can get out quickly enough, he will get a wave around as Lockie Capel's jumping in into the pits as well. So I don't think these boys that pitted before think they can make it. So well, Lockie definitely doesn't think he is. Adam Simpson's in. Adam Hughes is staying out. Jake Edwards is staying out. So the Crisscross boys think they can make it.
Boys staying out, yeah. It's certainly that kind of grey area where that sort of 5-10 minutes where it could go either way. You know, some boys are going to be confident. Most obviously are feeling like they can't. Quite a few have stayed out though. The Fishy boys have stayed out.
There's actually quite a lot of guys that have stayed out.
Randall's out. Nathan Gardner choosing to stay out. Peter Pavlik staying out as well. So yeah, a few boys there sort of deciding that perhaps they're quite happy with how it is. Of course, another safety car could still come later on.
Yeah, and it really just comes down to how long the safety car is. The last one took up about 7 minutes. Roughly, so you know, you've been another 7 minutes and you've only got 25 minutes left in the race. So I think those that are staying out might actually be playing a winning strategy here, because if they just drop it down to safety car, engine map, and clutch in, as we saw Adam earlier in the race, I think they'll be pretty good. As Bruce Tannick has, yes, he has got back on the lead lap, so he's although down in 27th, he's come back from a couple of laps down to at least be on the lead lap and at the rear of the grid on this one. So I think he's been pretty lucky, as I think there was a car off into the inside of turn 1 there. Michael Whiting? Yeah, Michael Whiting is parked at turn 1 currently. Not sure what's happened there for Michael.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. At the moment, the only car showing as 1 lap down is Jamie Dyke, obviously upside down. So he's towed back to the pit lane there, so that will put him a lap down as well, I would think.
Depends on how. I'd say probably not with the safety car being the long lap. As Matty G has got his wave around, so he's now on the lead lap as well. So that's very interesting. It looked like he just sort of pulled left coming out of the pit. So there's a good chance that he might have
Does the Mercedes
had a hardware failure.
Yeah, does the Mercedes have a shift lock? Does he potentially, bash down the gears and blow in a gearbox? That's something that can.
Can't say I've ever come across it. I do believe it does, so you can't just smash it down into first gear. That's very interesting. It's it leads to me believe there's probably more of a possible mechanical or like hardware failure behind it. Just come out of the pits, hang a right, go off the track and just tow, or like park it and then obviously request a tow and tow. So very bad sort of 5-minute spell there for the Fishy boys, unfortunately, with two of their faster guys coming into a bit of trouble.
Oh, okay, so apparently the GT3s don't have the downshift lock, so yeah, we're not quite sure what's happened there, but either way, it's taken out the two top Fishy boys, running from the top 5 right down to 30th and 31st, so really unfortunate for Fishy Motorsports. Who have they still got up there? Blake Delaney, I think, now the top running Fishy boy, Fishy guy in 4th place.
Yeah, I'd say he still has to make a pit stop though, as he was off sync after that first lap crash, and he pitted under the previous safety car as well. So
yeah, I believe so.
Believe he's still slightly off sync, but he might be able to still fuel save enough, as he is one of the best in the league at it. And Adam Simpson has dropped down to P22. So he's had
I noticed that. I wasn't quite sure what had happened there, but
he's had a longer pit stop looking at this. All these other guys were in the pits for only 4 to 5 seconds, and he was in there for 12. So it looks like he's lost a bit, and obviously just coming off a safety car restart. It looks like he's just potentially overfilled a little bit and lost a lot of track time.
Yeah, so a bit of misfortune there for Adam Simpson after having been running up in the top 5 sort of for the most part of this race. So it is the two crisscross boys up the top there. Adam Hughes leads over Jake Edwards. Ray Oliver finds himself in 3rd in the juiced BMW. Blake Delaney in the Fishy Motorsports car. 4th place, Jared Farrow in the Whitey's Pies Porsche. Again finds himself moving back up the field. In 5th place, he's got the two kittens behind him, and Randall. Oh, that's not a kitten. No, yeah, it is a kitten car, and Randall just behind him as well. I keep getting confused. There's one pink car that's not a kitten car.
Yeah, it always makes it difficult when they've got similar liveries but different teams, for sure. It's the same with Randall here. It almost looks like a little bit of a Fishy Motorsports livery with the chrome that he's got on it, but obviously Randall runs his own team there. Looked like Peter Pavlovich almost rear-ended Nathan Gardner there as he was catching the train.
He was just warming the tyres, mate.
In the KFC car. Almost rear-ending Nathan Gardner in another one of the crisscross boys who's had a pretty good run there in P10. Up 6 positions. Looking at the leaderboard there, he's currently running on the podium, I believe, in AM. Just quickly double checking. He's currently P4 in AM, so he's doing pretty well there. Adrian Loretti is currently winning the AM at the moment, and obviously
currently running in 7th at the moment.
And obviously Adam Hughes up the front is currently winning our Pro Division into our last third of the race here. 28 minutes to go. I reckon we're looking at the field, everyone's caught up. Jamie Dyke is back out on track. So he, I believe, has dropped 1 lap, or is he still on the lead?
No, it's showing him on the lead lap currently, so
he's still on the lead
got that lap back. He's currently catching the train, so whether he's had a wave around or not.
I believe he has. He's come out wave around. He's done a splash of fuel and then he's come back around. So even if we go back green this lap, I believe he'll still catch the back of the field.
Oh yeah, he's got plenty of time. He's just coming down to the end of the back straight now, and the field's just on the carousel. So by the time they come down the bottom straight and through Canada Corner, Jamie will find himself on the back for sure.
Absolutely. It looks like Michael Whiting, if it was a hardware failure, has definitely fixed it, because he's back out on track with P29 as well. So a couple of misfortune events there, but obviously long way to go yet. Still 27 minutes, sorry. Still anything can happen, and it looks like Is the safety car pulling away? Safety car is pulling away. So field is now on Adam's control, and he'll be maintaining 90 kph until we get to the acceleration zone.
Yeah,
and
Jamie
if I know
Dyke,
Adam, he'll be going early.
Yeah, Jamie Dyke, they're just entering the carousel as the last car on the train was exiting it, so he'll catch them by the kink, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Or certainly down the back straight, so not too much time lost there for Jamie Dyke after being upside down in what was a pretty spectacular crash. So Adam Hughes will be waiting for that safety car call in pit lane. And yeah, as you mentioned, Steph, Adam is one to go early. Likes to get that jump on the field. Jake will know this, of course they'll be in comms together, so they'll probably go together.
Absolutely, and Jared Farewell Jared Farewell in the other CXR Whitey's car in P5, he's come pretty good out of that as well with the other boys pitting, so he'll be in the same Discord and he'll be able to know, and he might be able to even set up Blake Delaney for a bit of a run. Obviously it's a bit harder on a restart because Blake will have the tow from Ray Oliver there, but I'm going to say Adam's going to go, probably he needs to either go before the hill or after the hill because the Porsche doesn't have the initial acceleration and grunt going up the hill. So
he's leaving it quite late, looks like he's taking it to the line.
He definitely is.
Gets to the top of the hill, he goes just after the crest of the hill. Jake Edwards has gone with him. They've got a little bit of a gap there to Ray Oliver, not huge.
Yeah, it's a pretty smart move there because if he's on the top and the other boys are coming up the hill, he's going to be able to just naturally pull away a little bit as the other guys, obviously, with the elevation changes, still climbing.
Yeah, so Delaney pokes his nose, but isn't able to get anything sticking there. Harry Dodds takes an inside line through turn 1, trying to make a move on Alan Dawson there for 13th. But everybody gets through turn 1 cleanly as they go through 2 and down the back straight. We're riding with Blake Delaney, who's currently looking to set up Ray Oliver into turn 4. Ray defends nicely, leaves him a little bit of room, but Blake not able to get up inside and make that move, sticks him behind. It looked like Jared got a little bit loose under brakes there, but manages to hold on to it. Both the kitten cars trailing there in 6th and 7th.
Yeah, it looks like Nathan Allen down with John Thomas, good old scrap down the back as well, as he's actually fallen down the leaderboard a little bit, so I think he's had a bit of a incident there with Dylan Thomas as they're both falling down. You can see Dylan making a recovery spin there coming out, and Nathan is a little bit further up the track, so I think they've had a bit of coming together there, so could potentially be a little bit of a penalty heading one of their ways as we continue back up to the front. And yeah, Adam Hughes has pulled away 0.8 of a second, so these top 3 are pulling away. They've got a bit of a gap, sorry, top 4, they've got a 2-second gap from P4 Blake Delaney to Jared Farewell behind him, with Daniel Byrne right up behind him. So it's definitely a bit interesting. Lockie Capel's on the charge again, he's got back up into P10, he's just got past Nathan Gardner and 10 in the corner. So it's going to be interesting with 20 or just over 20 minutes whether Lockie can actually make that ground back up from the pit stop and catch these boys back up the front without any safety car.
Yeah, without doubt, Lockie's certainly the fastest guy on track right now, but the strategy at the moment isn't quite doing him any favours. He gets right at the top and then he finds himself going into the pit again. He's trying to run that fuel out to the maximum potential, and we've talked about fuel saving, we've talked about tyres, as we see Delaney there up the inside of Ray Oliver, and he's going to get the move done down into turn 1. But Lachlan there is, if he keeps running the way he is, he could just find himself the strategy getting the better of him and not quite having enough, as we see a bit of action there in the back. Nathan Gardner gets left and right trying to find his way around the other juiced car there, Braden O'Loughlin.
Yeah, it looks like Harry Dodds had a bit more misfortune there as well, and had an off track and lost another 10 positions there on the restart, so it's not the night Harry wants there, but these two boys, Nathan and Braden, are definitely having a good old scrap here for, I believe it's P4 and P3, sorry, and Ampar. So this is the battle for the podium for Am there between Nathan and Braden. So they're going at it. 20 minutes to go. We're in the last 20 minutes, roughly sort of 9 laps at this track. So anything can happen.
Yeah, definitely about 9 laps to go, and there's a couple of good battles going throughout the field here. Obviously the safety cars bunched them all up quite nicely. No one's really pulled off to too big of a margin. Nathan Gardner and Braden have a bit of a lead, a bit of a gap over Carl Ridley back in 12th, but other than that, the field are running very close still off the safety car restart as we watch Lachlan here line up on, who is it? Ray? No, not Ray. Where's my timing screen? Randall into Canada corner as they go 3 wide through the exit there, and that's Farewell there. Finds himself a bit wide, bit of contact there from Randall and the kitten car, Adrian. And Lachlan there will take the move up the inside through the last corner. Sticks in the toe of Adrian coming up the hill. But I'll tell you what though, Randall hasn't given up. He's right in the toe there of Lachlan. He's dipped his nose out at the top of the hill to try and get a run, but he's not. I think he's just pulled out a little bit too early before they got to the top of the hill, and it has cost him. Tries to make a bit of a move, bit of contact as well. Lachlan holds on. No, he's around. Lachlan finds himself out in the sand. Randall probably worse off there. Lachlan has managed to regather, but it has cost him at least 5 or 6 positions, probably even more than that. Currently down in 16th now. Where was he? 8th or 9th? Yeah, it's about 7 or 8 positions.
About 8th, yeah.
Yeah, 7 or 8 positions there with that contact. Randall there definitely, actually no, a bit better off actually. Manages to rejoin the track in 14th. So certainly a bit of an interesting battle there.
Yeah, they're all just there right on track. You got Daniel Yeaman making a bit of a dive-bomb move, getting past Alan and Randall.
Bit of a push there from Lachlan, bit of a receipt on Randall as he slips past him there out of turn 4.
Yeah, I can't say Lachlan will be very happy with there. It looks like Randall was on the outside, and then I think Lockie went sort of over to the racing line, and they both just pinched each other and made a bit of contact. That incident is going to be no further action by racing control, so I think they both have fault there a little bit, both squeezing each other, and that's what happens when rugby's racing, unfortunately. Sometimes you get unstuck.
Yeah, just one of those things, and both of them did quite well really to regather the cars and keep them running in a fairly straight line. Haven't sort of cost themselves too much as far as track position. So Lockie will get back into the groove as he makes a big dive up the inside there over Alan Dawson, gets it onto the grass. Tries to make a move around the outside as we see Braden there, I think it was.
Yeah.
Nathan Gardner and Braden in the stand at the end of Canada corner.
Yeah, Nathan's unfortunately they're spun. Braden O'Loughlin just outbraking himself and making rear contact with Braden, so that'll be a penalty coming Nathan's way, unfortunately, and takes that battle out of the AM for the last place on the podium. So that now falls into probably Alan Dawson. Now would be the podium on the AM class. So it's unfortunate there for those boys.
Yeah, currently running 14th there, Adam Dawson, as we jump back up to the front. Blake Delaney finds himself in 3rd position, chasing down the 2 crisscross boys. Ray Oliver a little way back now in 4th. You see him just on the top of screen there as they come around turn 3. But it looks like the crisscross boys have got pretty good rhythm. They'll no doubt be working together, just building up the pack as we move through down into 5th. Daniel Byrne, Jared Farewell currently splits the other kit and car of Adrian. And back there in 8th, Sebastian Flock, who's had a bit of a mixed race so far. He's been up and another one of the getting tongue-tied. Another one of those guys that have been a little bit up and down grid. As you see, big contact there. Nathan, who was that? Was that Lockie was almost got caught up in it again. I think that was Braden or Kyle Ridley got up on 2 wheels there. So Lockie involved in all the action there, trying to make those moves sick as we see 2 of the drop beer cars together there. Oh, he's run that very, very wide. Man, a bit of a dodgy rejoin, but manages to keep himself out of trouble. 100% commitment right now from Lockie. Yeah, 2:01.6 that last lap from Lockie, so certainly showing his pace. Quickest in the race so far. Daniel Yeaman there, the other Drop Beer Motorsports Porsche. Be very good if Daniel can hook up with Lockie and find their way through the field. Good result for the Drop Beer team. Currently chasing down Kyle Ridley in the reduced BMW, and Lockie will get that pass done down into turn 1. Side by side, takes the inside line, comes across, and yeah, nicely should have passed. Bit of contact in the background. I think that was Daniel Yeaman. No, was it? Yeah, Daniel Yeaman. Bit of contact with it looked like Adam Simpson, I think. So he'll find himself moving a fair way down the pack. He's just trying to find the right time to rejoin, and there's not really a safe chance to do so. He will get back in. He's slotting into 26th position at the end of turn 1. So just as we were saying, how nice it would be for the drop beer boys to run together, Daniel Yeaman gets the commentator's curse and finds himself in the gravel at T1.
Yeah, a bit of an action-packed 5 minutes there for the drop beer boys as it was all on. But unfortunately, obviously both of them getting caught up in some accidents, but it's all part of racing, I suppose, at the Road America. You know, last 15 minutes, everyone's trying to gain as much position as they can. It looks like Braden O'Loughlin's just gone off the track by himself again, lost another position to Owen Coleman. Nathan Gardner has just been issued with his drive-through penalty, so he'll be coming in and getting out of the way of Lockie Capel here any minute, so it'll give free track to Lockie to chase down. I believe it'll be his other teammate, Sebastian Flock.
Sebastian Flock, yeah.
Another 4 seconds up the road, so he's still in for a top 10, Lockie, but I think he's just going to run out of time to catch these boys up the front, being 17 seconds behind. I just don't think he's going to have the time to catch them, as long as they obviously don't need to stop for fuel. Obviously Lockie came in for that little splash and dash, so it'll be interesting to see where they are, but that could also be caused because Lockie had a shorter fill in the first pit stop as well. If I think it was about 3 or 4 seconds shorter on the fill than anyone else, so not taking that full tank might have actually hurt him in the end, having to come in for that second pit stop.
Yeah, well, he's certainly been running a off-brand strategy, has Lachlan, that aggressive style. He's been in the pit lane 3 or 4 times now, I think, more than any other driver. Yeah, 3 times, more than any other driver, or equal to rather, especially ones that haven't been involved in major incidents anyway. So doing those little quick dashes, he's making the time back up on track very effectively though. We see him get past Nathan Gardner there. We move back up to Sebastian Flock, who Lachlan's now chasing down. So you see the gap there, running at about 4 seconds up the road. And a fair bit of time from Sebastian up to Adrian as well in the kitten cars and that battle there with Jared Farrowell. So yeah, Lachlan's certainly got a bit of time to make up there if he wants to get into sort of the top 5. He's certainly sitting well within the top 10 now. As we jump on with Jared Farrowell and Adrian again in that little kitten CXR battle.
It's been a pretty good battle with these two. They're both Daniel's been able to maintain his 5th position from where he started, and then Adrian's up 10 positions, Jared's up 8 in this little battle we can see on track here. So pretty solid race from all 3 of those drivers there, and it looks like these guys are ever so slightly catching Daniel in front of them. So by the end of the race, if they can maintain this gaining a couple of tenths, they will be right on them coming to the end of the race.
Yeah, well, Daniel sort of pulled away there about 2 or 3 laps ago, and now they're sort of closing that gap back in again. So they're sort of less battling, more running together and helping each other out to get up there. Obviously, they're chasing down that top 4 and the podium not far off. Ray Oliver also. So, you know, probably unrealistic to expect these guys at this stage in the race to find a top 3 unless we get another safety car. But, you know, certainly good positional points for these guys.
Absolutely, and these guys are all battling in the Pro Championship as well, and it's got a lifetime, and then Nathan Gardner is in to serve his drive-through penalty. So it will be interesting to see where he slots back out. I'm going to say it's probably going to be around the 22nd to 23rd position, maybe.
Yeah, just looking at the track map, it could even be worse than that.
It looks like he might come out just in front of Braden O'Loughlin, which is obviously the person he had the incident with, as he's rejoined the track now, and he is
right in front of Braden O'Loughlin. So
right in front of Braden. So it's kind of worked out. You know, the penalties put them back together, so it's a pretty fair penalty. Obviously that's what penalties are designed for. Is he's a second and a bit in front of Braden there. So, but unfortunately, obviously that took them both out of the battle for AM. But they can resume the battle and keep going on for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's always nice to see the penalty working out kind of perfectly like that, and those boys will be, yeah, as you say, continuing their battle and hopefully a bit cleaner this time. And they can make a few positions back up. If you can get back up in the top 20, I think for them it's going to be a pretty good result with this amount of time left. The splits aren't too big down there at the back. Certainly some battles happening there as we jump on with Vince in the not kitten car. Chasing down Owen Coleman in 20th, who again obviously got caught up in that little incident a bit earlier on. Found himself dropping a few positions. Bruce Tannock, of course, had a bit of a nightmare tonight. Up and down the grid, couple of blown engines, certainly a few trips down the pit lane that he wasn't planning. Six trips down the pit lane. The most of any driver so far. So running in 19th, probably not the worst result for him as we jump back up to our hard charger, Lockie. Running in 9th, he looks like he's just getting the back of Sebastian Flock in sight there as we see Jared Farewell defending on the inside of Adrian. Manages to hold on to the position, so perhaps just a little bit vulnerable there. Adrian starting to show his nose a little bit. Perhaps just giving the intent that I'm looking to come past, especially with Sebastian and Lockie closing in on them now as well. We see there with the onboard camera there, the gap between the cars not too big.
Yeah, and those Jared, Adrian and Sebastian all battling in the last lap going 205 versus Lachlan's 202, low 202 as well. So Lachlan's going 2 seconds quicker a lap than these boys up the front. So wouldn't be surprised if he can get past them, but obviously catching someone that is completely different to faster than Sebastian's got a good run out of that right hand kink. He's not going to quite send it here, but I think he can get a good run out of the carousel. He's definitely going to try and make the move come Canada corner, or he might actually get Lockie go to make the moves and follow Lockie through, given his how much quicker he is than these boys.
Yeah, and you saw there on from that camera angle, Sebastian just checked up on the brakes a little bit earlier braking down the hill, and it sort of made himself a little bit more vulnerable to Lockie, but he has given himself a very good run coming down the bottom straight into Canada corner. Of course, Adrian right all over the back of Jared as well, so Adrian slips out, he takes the inside line, he will get past Jared, and it looks like Lockie's made the move on Flock. Tried to line up Jared as well, but probably going to wait until the last corner, or we've seen him be very successful drafting up the hill and down into turn 1. So Jared now very, very vulnerable. Lockie right on the bumper, certainly in the toe, and I think Sebastian will probably look to try and go with him. He's certainly popped out very early. So Lockie looking to make that move, and he will get it. Sebastian trying to find the toe on Lockie's car, but he's there, but I don't know if he's going to quite get the pass made. Lockie just moves over to give himself a bit of room. He will have the inside line, breaks a bit deeper, makes the move. Sebastian finds himself still stuck in behind Jared. So some great racing again from Lockie, textbook passing. And unfortunately, Jared Farewell has found himself a couple of positions down off those few exchanges.
Yeah, good little battle there with these boys. Jared definitely looks like he's struggling a little bit. It could be tyres, or it could just be a little bit of fatigue. Obviously, an hour and a half is a long race when you're driving in a good battle pack. But Lockie's definitely got the pace. Sebastian looks like he's got the pace, but also could be carrying a little bit of damage from his earlier incident. So I'm not sure if he's potentially down a little bit on straight line, because he didn't really draft up behind Lockie down the main straight there, like we sort of expected. And he's having a bit of a moment there, getting that left rear onto over the curb. So he's definitely pushing. He's not leaving anything on the table.
Yeah, you certainly saw him try to get that toe and that draft down the home straight, but he just didn't quite have the power to stick with Lockie. And he sort of sat in behind Jared there, again, just not quite having the power to make the move down the back straight, and obviously pushed a little bit too hard on the exit there. But certainly the intent is there, and he just needs to find the right opportunity, I think. Just catch that little mistake from Jared with sort of predicting perhaps his tyres aren't quite there, or he's suffering a bit of fatigue. So just trying to hang on for a top 10 position, I think, from Jared would be a very good result for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And he It's still up 6 positions currently from his starting grid of P14. So he's either way, he's doing a great job to hang on to these top 10. He is classed as a pro driver in the pro division, so he's missed the first few rounds. So I think he's really in here to get a bit of experience, and then come next season he's going to be full-time and try and take it to these boys up the front.
Yeah, we just crossed briefly there to Michael White. I think obviously he found himself right at the back there with that last safety car incident. He's back up into 14th position. And we'll just try and find Jamie Dyke on the timing screen.
P16.
P16, yeah. So those two fishy boys done pretty well to claw back up from 30th and 31st to get back up into the middle of the field. A few laps to go. Potentially, no, I don't know if top 10's probably not quite on. There's just a few too many big gaps there in the field as we watch Peter Pavlik get overtaken there by, I think, Owen Coleman. Yep, Owen Coleman. Starting to get used to these liveries. I'm getting pretty good at this. Bit of a self-brag. Yeah, great move there from Owen Coleman. Bruce Tannock again. We've talked about his race a couple of times. He's doing very well up there in 17th. Found himself a bit of clean air now just to set some laps, build that consistency. No doubt he'll be disappointed with his overall performance today. As we see Jamie Dyke, Alan Dawson, Michael Whiting up ahead there. Those two fishy boys being split by Alan. Just looking to make those final few positions as we get down to the last 5 minutes of the race. So yeah, just a couple of laps to go. We jump back up to the top 3. Blake Delaney just still struggling to close in that gap on Jake Edwards. But definitely right there, just waiting to capitalise on any mistakes that are going to be made.
Yeah, it's I still don't know if these guys are, their fuel could be tight, so they could be restricted by having to hit a fuel number. Their lap times are still pretty fast though. Adam Hughes 2026, and Jake and Blake Delaney both doing 203 deads. So going off that sort of lap time, they are actually pushing. If you're fuel saving, you still think you'd lose, half a second a lap sort of thing, because Jake is not in the tow anymore of Adam. So they're doing decent lap times, pretty close to their best. They're only sort of half a second off their best respective lap times. So I think these boys are definitely pushing. I don't think they're fuel saving anymore, so I think it's going to be a flat battle to the end for this last 3.5 minutes, the last couple of laps.
Yeah, definitely, as we see Sebastian Flock get the move done there on Adrian. Oh no, it wasn't. Yes it was. Yes it was. Yep. I was right. I doubted myself for a second. So again, another great move from Sebastian. We sort of just discussed before about some potential power issues, but he manages to get Jared and Adrian. Finds himself up into 8th position now. 7th position, sorry. So Daniel Byrne, a great drive from him, down in 5th.
Yeah, he's maintained his qualifying position there in P5. So obviously been a bit of the carnage. He's been up and down a little bit, avoiding the wrecks, and but he's just had a nice, solid, consistent race. Got 4 seconds to the car in front and 4 seconds to the car behind, in Lockie Capel. So he's just sort of in his own little race.
And Blake Delaney's got right at the back of Jake Edwards now on the timing screen, down to within a second. So just at that stage now, 3 minutes to go. Probably going to get 2 more laps in this time by. They'll have time to complete another one. So 2 more laps as we see a car there. I know they're just conceding, but Blake uses all the ripple strip and the grass to get around the final corner.
Yeah, and unfortunately that's sort of taken him out of the tow as the better exit. Jake's already put that gap from 7/10 to 1.4 seconds and gained 6/10 on Blake that lap. So Blake's going to have to put in a mega lap here to get back within that draft, because I don't think he's going to catch him unless he can get sort of back to that 7/10 and grab the draft off Jake again. And because without the draft, Jake won't really be able to defend because he doesn't have Adam's draft. So it's going to be up to Blake to put in some real good sort of personal best lap times here and do low 202s, but the way it's looking, I think that's just cost Blake a potential run at Jake for P2.
Yeah, definitely a very costly mistake there from Blake Delaney. Obviously, they're trying to get around that lap traffic, but that whoever that was looked like that wasn't the kitten car; it was the not kitten car. Yeah, right out of the way, as we see Michael Whiting here leading that battle pack now with Alan and Jamie right behind. Jamie there tries to stick his nose up, looks to the outside line down the straight. Looks like Alan's almost conceding a little bit. This doesn't quite have the power, or perhaps he's trying to fuel save to the finish. No, he's still defending reasonably well, but Jamie Dyke does take the outside line around the corner, pulls it up nicely, gets the move done. So Jamie Dyke finds himself now in 14th.
And only one down from his qualifying position. So although he had that big massive crash with Owen Coleman about halfway through the race, he has been able to get back to pretty much where he's qualified. So not a bad recovery, sort of not too bad. Michael Whiting still loses a lot after that hardware failure, down 10 positions after his P3 starting position. And Adam Simpson there as well from the Fishy Boys, not having the greatest race after that long pit stop, cost him a few positions, and he's down 7 positions there.
Yeah, definitely Adam was running at the front for the longest time, as I believe the white flag comes out. Yeah, Barney up the top there waving. Across the control line with seconds to spare, but they have given the white flag. So Adam Hughes will lead the field for the final time. Jake Edwards, I think, just a little bit too far back to make a move. And again, we mentioned Blake Delaney there, that little incident on the exit of the final corner on the previous lap just cost him that tow. Ray Oliver 7 seconds back from Delaney in 4th, and then it's a further 4 seconds back to Daniel Byrne. And Lockie Capel still charging very hard to the final stages. I think he might just run out of time unless he can pull off a spectacular dive on Daniel there.
Going off his last lap time, he did gain 1.5 seconds, and he's currently only 1.2 behind him. So he could. He's going to have to put in a super fast lap here, but there is a chance he might be able to catch him to coming into Canada corner, or also draft it up the hill to the start finish line.
Yeah, definitely. As we jump back to Ray Oliver in 4th, he's had a pretty quiet little sort of stint there for the last half hour or so. Those top 3 have certainly pulled away from him. They've kind of been in a bit of a league of their own there. Blake Delaney's had an amazing race. Up 8 positions from the start, but again he got caught up in that very early incident. Manages to drive through, did quite well out of the second safety car, and he's found himself up in 3rd. Ray, of course, not to be discredited, he is 8 positions up as well. Although the big mover, Lachlan Capel, up 23, Sebastian Flock up 21. Those two boys down there in 6th and 7th have had outstanding drives. But it will be Adam Hughes as he zigzags up the hill to take the checkered flag, lights flashing. And it's been a great drive there from Adam Hughes. Jake Edwards locks out the top 2 for Crisscross Racing in 2nd place, and Blake Delaney from Fishy Motorsports will come home in 3rd. Really just came down to that first pit stop, or that second pit stop I think it was. Adam Hughes got the better transit time down the lane. Jake Edwards really 8 seconds slower on that pit stop, and it cost him a few positions. Managed to get them back as we watch the field come over. Ray Oliver 4th, Daniel Byrne 5th, Lachlan Capel comes home in 6th, Sebastian Flock 8th, Adrian Loretti 8th, Jared Farrell holds on to the top 10 in 9th position. Kyle Ridley rounds out your top 10 drivers in what has been a fairly exciting race.
Yeah, it's 90-minute race, and these boys put it on for 90 minutes for sure. As you got the two Crisscross boys saluting each other down the straight, and Blake Delaney doing some donuts with the traction control turned off. It was a pretty good race by all, really. There you go, Blake taking to the grass, the pass in the grass. These guys did really well, and only 3 safety cars for a couple of big incidents. There weren't really many little spins and little incidents, as it looks like Randall has had to pit on the last lap, so that could cost him as Blake tips it in at the end of turn 3 in his celebratory donuts. But for some reason Randall's lost a couple of positions on the last lap there to Andrew White and Ty Delaney. But good round by all, and obviously thank you to our sponsors of DSL Welding Services racecraft simulators, and obviously for the safety car is the promo department. Couldn't do it without your support, and thank you to everyone who has tuned in to this. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of a delayed coverage of the GT3 series, but we still put it on for you guys. So don't forget to go like and subscribe to SRW TV, and there's a little bit of a prize that's going to be up for grabs in the short future. So keep an eye out on all our socials, and you'll go in the draw to win something quite significant and big. So don't forget about that. But yeah, as these guys are just doing their cool down lap, thank you to Brendan for jumping in on the comms, and obviously Todd for producing week in, week out for us. But with that is us done for tonight, for this GT3 Enduro, and we'll see you all around later tonight when we go for the V8 Supercars at Sandown, I believe it is. I'm sorry, Winton, for round 4 of the V8 Supercars tonight. So tune in from 7:30 Australian Eastern Standard, and we'll see you then.
See you then, guys.